Thursday, October 2, 1913.
Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. That is the message we would impress on you now. Do not lag behind in the way, for light is shed along it which will show you the path. And, if you hold fast to your faith in the All-Father and his dear Son our Lord, you need have no fear of any beside. We write this on account of certain lingering doubts still about you. You feel our presence, we know, but our messages have taken on such a complexion as to seem too fairy-like to be real. Know, then, that no fairy story ever written can equal the wonder of these heavenly realms, or the beauties of them. Moreover, much of the description you read in fairy books, of scenery and buildings, is not altogether unlike many things we have seen here in this beautiful land. Only a little yet have we been able to learn, but, from that little, we are convinced that nothing, which can enter into the creative imagination of a man while in the earth life, can equal the glories which await his wondering intellect, when he puts off the earth body, with its limitations, and stands free in the light of the heavenly land. Now, what we wish to try to tell you tonight is of a rather different order from our former messages, and has regard rather to the essential nature of things than to the phenomena of life as displayed for our instruction and joy. If a man could take his stand here on some one of the high summits with which this landscape is crowned, he would behold some rather strange and unfamiliar sights. For instance, he would probably first observe that the air was clear, and that distance had a different aspect from that it was on earth. It would not seem far away in the same sense, for, if he wished to leave the summit, on which he stood, and go to some point near the horizon, or even beyond, he would do so by means of his will, and, it would depend on the quality of that will, and his own nature, whether he went fast or slow, and also how far he could penetrate into the regions which lie beyond the various mountain ranges and whose, I suppose we shall have to use the word atmosphere, is of rarer quality than that, in which, his present lot is cast. It is on account of this that we do not always see those messengers who come to us from the higher spheres. They are seen by some better than by others, and are only truly and definitely visible when they so condition their bodies as to emerge into visibility. Now, if we go too far in their direction, that is, in the direction of their home, we feel an exhaustion which disables us to penetrate farther, although some are able to go farther than others. Again, standing on that summit, the observer would notice that the firmament was not exactly opaque to the vision, but rather in the nature of light, but light of a quality which intensifies as the distance from the surface of the landscape increases. And some are able to look farther into that light than others, and to see there, beings and scenes enacting, which others less developed are not able to see. Also, he would see all around him dwellings and buildings of various kinds, some of which I have described. But those buildings would not be merely houses and work, places and colleges to him. From each structure he would read not its character so much as the character of those who built it and those who inhabit it. Permanent they are, but not of the same dull permanency as those of earth. They can be developed and modified and adapted, in color, shape and material, according as the needs should require. They would not have to be pulled down, and then the material used in rebuilding. The material would be dealt with as the building stood. Time has no effect on our buildings. They do not crumble or decay. Their durability depends simply on the wills of their masters, and, so long as these will, the building stands, and then is altered as they will. Another thing he would notice would be flights of birds coming from out the distance and going, with perfect precision, to some particular spot. Now there are messenger birds trained on earth, but not as these are trained. In the first place, as they are never killed or ill-used, they have no fear of us. These birds are one of the means we use to send messages from one colony to another. They are not really necessary, as we have other quicker and more business-like ways of communication. We use them more as pretty fancies, just as we use colors and ornaments for beauty's sake sometimes. These birds are always making flights, and are dear loving creatures. They seem to know what their business is, and love to do it. There is a tale here that once one of these birds, in his eagerness to outstrip his fellows, overshot the others and projected himself into the earth's sphere. There he was seen by a clairvoyant man, who shot at him, and so astonished was the wanderer not at the shooting, but at the sensation which he felt coming from the man's thoughts, that he realized that he was not in his right element somehow, and as soon as he realized that, he was back again here. What he had felt coming from the man's brain was the resolution and desire to kill, and, although he knew it was something uncanny, when he came to try to tell his other bird friends, he was at a loss, because nothing of the kind is known here, and he could no more describe it than a bird from this realm could describe his life to one of the Earth's sphere. So the other birds said that, as he had a tale to tell which he could not, he was to return and find the man and ask him what word he should use. He did so, and the man, who was a farmer, said pigeon pie would best describe his idea. The bird returned and, as they could not translate the term into their language, or make any meaning of it, they passed a resolution to the effect that whoever should wish to visit Earth, in future, should place himself under guard, until inquiries had been made as to whether he was in his own proper sphere or no. And the moral of it all is this: keep to your own appointed task, which you will understand, and where you will be understood by those who are your fellow servants in the work, and do not be too eager to shoot ahead before you are sure of your ground, or atmosphere, or, thinking you are going forward, you may find yourself in a sphere which is below the one from which you started, and, where the highest beings of that sphere are less progressed, in many ways, than the lowest of your own, and much less pleasant as company. Well, that is a light story as a little interlude, and will serve to show you that we can laugh here, and be foolish wisely, and wise foolishly, on occasion, and that we are not grown up much in some things since we left your earth and came over here. Goodbye, dear, keep up a merry heart.